Under the faint glow of the winter sun, the plains remained still, their frozen grasses rustling beneath a light wind that carried the scent of pine and old earth. Silas West rode alone, his shadow long against the frost, the squeak of saddle leather the only sound breaking the silence. The world felt empty here, save for the occasional hawk soaring high above. He preferred it this way, tranquil, unclaimed, but the land that gave calmness could just as easily take it away. That truth came sharp and sudden, carried on the faintest sound that cut through the cold air. A cry high and thin like a bird in pain, yet too human to ignore. He stopped his horse, listening. Another cry followed, weaker this time, and his boots hit the ground before the horse could move. Rifle in hand, he moved toward the sound, boots crushing over frost. Between scrubby mesquite and low cedar, he saw them. Two small girls, no older than 6, pressed together against a large stone, their breath fogging the cold air. A lean wolf stood a few paces off, hackles raised, lips pulled back to show teeth yellow as old ivory. The older girl's arms were thrown around the younger, her small body a shield. Silas felt a twinge in his chest, an ache as old as the grief he carried. He didn't shout. A loud voice might scatter them in fear or push the wolf to strike. Instead, he stepped slow, eyes fixed on the animal, raising the rifle in one smooth motion. The wolf's growl deepened. The loud noise of the shot cracked across the stillness, echoing through the trees, and the beast dropped, its last breath steaming in the cold air. For a heartbeat, no one moved. The girl's eyes were wide, dark as midnight rivers, darting between him and the fallen animal. Silas lowered the rifle and bent down, making himself smaller. His voice, when it came, was quiet, the way one speaks to a nervous colt. "You are safe now." Whether they understood the words or not, he let the tone carry what mattered. He pulled his canteen from his belt and held it out. The older girl hesitated, then took it, letting the younger drink first. She drank fast, spilling some down her chin, and passed it back without a word. They were thin, their cheeks hollow, their clothes deerskin tunics and leggings marked with dirt and torn at the knees. Silas removed his coat, wrapping it around them both. The older clutched it tight around her sister, her chin lifting in silent challenge, as if daring him to try taking it back. He felt the faintest pull of a smile at that spirit, but it died quick. The wind was shifting colder. His cabin lay half a mile to the west. He guided them toward it, letting them walk, but keeping close enough they could reach him if they stumbled. The younger girl's small hand found his sleeve, holding on with surprising strength. Each step they took left dark impressions in the frost, as though marking a path he couldn't turn away from. Soon, the cabin's chimney smoked faintly when they reached it, warmth leaking from the gaps around the door. Inside, the air was thick with the smell of coffee grounds and the faint lingering scent of wood ash. Silas set them near the hearth where the fire cracked and hissed. The girls crouched low, hands out to the heat, their eyes darting around the one-room space as if mapping its safety. He poured coffee for himself and ladled warm beans into bowls for them. Bread followed, crusty and dry, but softened when dipped in broth. The older girl, he would later learn her name was Maya, ate quickly, not looking up. The younger, Ilara, took careful bites, her gaze flitting to his face between each one, like she was studying whether this place would keep her. Outside, snow began to fall. Light at first, flakes drifting like ash, settling on the split-rail fence and the empty corral. Silas sat in his chair by the fire, boots stretched toward the heat, and tried not to think of the empty space where his wife once sat. But the sound of 2 small breaths, the whisper of their movements on the buffalo hide rug, made the emptiness seem less like a wound and more like a scar that could be lived with. Right now, as the snow falls softly and the cabin finds a rare moment of peace, I wonder, is your place filled with this kind of quiet or the clamor of the world? What time does your clock show? Let me know below. And if this tale of unexpected company is warming you like the hearth fire, please hit like and subscribe for more chapters from the frontier. Morning came gray and still until the sound of hoofbeats broke it. Silas stepped outside, rifle resting against the doorframe, and saw her, a woman on horseback, her figure wrapped in a faded red blanket, hair braided with stray feathers, eyes sharp even at a distance. She dismounted with fluid grace, calling out in Apache. The girls bolted from the cabin, voices lifting in quick, bright syllables as they ran to her. She dropped to her knees in the snow, arms wrapping both of them in a grip that shook. Silas stood a little apart, the cold stinging his cheeks, watching the reunion. When the woman looked up at him, her eyes held thanks, but also something heavier, an obligation, perhaps, or a decision already made. She spoke in halting English. "I am Shia. They are mine. You saved them." She paused as if weighing her next words. "A life saved must be repaid. My way, I come to you." It took Silas a moment to understand, and when he did, his chest tightened. She wasn't offering coin or goods, she was offering herself, her place in his home. He shook his head slowly. "You don't owe me anything." Her gaze didn't change. "A home is not payment, it is peace." Inside, she moved with quiet certainty, tending a fire, laying a hand briefly on each daughter's hair. She spoke little, but every motion carried the weight of someone used to work and survival. Silas tried to tell himself it was wrong to accept her offer, that she should go where her own people would keep her. But she explained without drama that she had no one left who would take her in. Her husband was gone, her family scattered. Without a man beside her, she was as good as dead in her people's eyes. The girls laughed for the first time since he'd found them, playing with a small carved horse they'd discovered on a shelf. The sound warmed the walls, turned the cabin into something it hadn't been in years. Silas caught Shia watching them with a small, private smile, and felt something shift inside him. The days folded in on each other, marked by small acts. Shia repaired the tear in his shirt without being asked. Maya carried water from the pump when he worked in the yard. Ilara curled against his side in the evenings, her head heavy on his arm. Shia hummed a low tune while grinding corn, a sound that made the hours pass more gently. At supper one night, their hands brushed as he passed the bread. Neither pulled away. The change didn't go unnoticed. 2 men from town rode up one afternoon, their faces twisted with suspicion. They eyed Shia and the girls like they were pests in the henhouse, muttering about keeping different people. Silas's jaw hardened, but before he could speak, Shia straightened her shoulders and met their stares without a word. Maya's small hand found hers, gripping tight. When the men left, Silas muttered an apology, but Shia only said, "Peace is not given by others, only created within." That night he couldn't sleep. The firelight painted Shia's profile in gold as she whispered in Apache to her daughters, telling them they were safe now. The word clung to him. Safe. He realized he wanted to be the one who kept it true. The next morning the wolves came again. The growl from the barnyard sent Silas to the door, rifle in hand. Shia was already moving, guiding the girls inside before grabbing a bow from near the hearth. Maya, eyes fierce, fetched a handful of arrows. The wolves circled, drawn by the scent of food scraps. Silas fired, the loud noise rolling over the snow. One wolf fell, the others hesitating before Shia's sharp cries, and Silas's second shot sent them fleeing. When it was over, they stood in the yard, breath misting in the cold, snow clinging to hair and coats. Silas looked at her, really looked, and saw not just a woman he had sheltered, but someone who had fought beside him to keep this ground theirs. She met his gaze without flinching, something unspoken passing between them. That night, with the girls asleep by the fire, they sat close beneath a shared blanket. Silas's voice was low, steady. "You can stay, not because you owe me, because I'd be a fool to let you go." Shia's eyes softened, and she laid her hand over his, the warmth of it holding him. Outside, the snow fell softer. The world hushed. The cabin no longer felt like 4 walls. It felt like a home. And if you've ever found someone who makes the silence feel safe, who turns the sharp edges of the world into something you can rest against, you'll know why he never let her leave. Peace is rare, love rarer still, and when the two come together in one winter cabin, the wise man holds on with both hands. And that is how Silas's story settled into a new life. Let me know what you thought of this chapter in the comments. Before you ride off, tell us your city and the time again. And if this tale of finding connection on the frontier resonated with you, please ensure you've hit that like and subscribe button. We'll keep the fire burning for our next story.